Know this about the basics of mental health. Today I'm addressing the basics of mental health. I've been a clinical psychologist for 8 years, and this is what I know. Today I want to tell you about the basics of a stable mind and how knowing these can help you be a fast step to restore an unstable mind. First said, having a stable mind is not the same as feeling great all the time. In my definition, having a stable mind is similar to mental health. Struggling with mental health can for me be described as having an unstable mind. Restoring mental health can for me be called working on having a stable mind. A stable mind is like mental health, a basis for well-being. Well-being doesn't mean feeling fantastic. It means that you're okay enough to deal with the things life throws at you, that you're okay enough to function overall. As a psychologist working with mental health, my work consists of helping clients to have a stable mind. This involves me telling them what's needed to maintain a stable mind and also what restores an unstable mind into stability. Both are important. An example of the symptoms or what we face when we have an unstable mind are emotional turbulence, difficulty in decision making, difficulty in performing your everyday school or work tasks, difficulty in existing in your relationships, difficulties being social, and overall finding it difficult to cope. I usually see these with clients who say they suffer from stress or being overwhelmed. As a psychologist, it's my responsibility to guide my client on how to find a way out of their misery. Due to the many difficulties that comes with an unstable mind, I often find that we need to restore the stability of the mind before further challenges can be tackled. The first thing I do with a client in distress is to talk to them about the phenomenon unstable mind. I explain to them that it's difficult to work on further challenges when their mind is unstable, and that I therefore aim to help them address their unstable mind first, and to get to have a stable mind. The basics for how to maintain a stable mind are the same as the basics we need to work on when our mind is unstable. To have a stable mind is the same as not having an unstable mind, and vice versa. I hope that makes sense. I'll section this into two parts, just like how I do it for my clients. First, I'll outline what are the basics of a stable mind, and lastly, I'll let you know what you can start with as a first step when having an unstable mind. Right. So, number one is understanding what it takes to have the best chances of a stable mind, and secondly, what's the first step we can take in order to help ourselves towards a more stable mind. Again, the goal is not happiness, but reaching well-being, a somewhat neutral state that allows coping with life's challenges and an ability to enjoy the joys of life when they occur. So, what are the basics for a stable mind? Mental health is being okay enough to function overall. Having a stable mind is what constitutes mental health. The logics here are that we're better able to cope with difficult times and life in general when we're mentally healthy. From my many years of work as a psychologist and the many years as a student before that, I've been able to pinpoint out 4 basics for having a stable mind. To make it easy for myself and my clients, I just call them the basics. The basics of giving yourself the best chances of a stable mind are sleep, eat, rest, and do. Hereunder, in order to be able to be stable mentally, you need to sleep enough, eat enough, rest enough, and do enough. I use this list as an analytical tool daily. Because I know that these are what constitutes the basics for having a stable mind, I'll interview my clients about them when they seem to be struggling. If one of my clients tell me that they're feeling very bad, depressed, down, or out of it in general, I'll always ask them about these 4 basics. How are you doing with sleeping at the moment? Are you sleeping enough? How much are you sleeping? Are you oversleeping or sleeping more than normal? How are you doing with eating at the moment? Are you eating enough? Have you reduced your food intake lately? Have you changed what you normally eat? What about rest? Are you taking breaks and time for yourself? Are you allowing time in your calendar where you're allowed to just be you and do whatever? Have you had enough downtime recently? How much downtime have you had daily in the last week? And what about getting things done? Are you doing things that you have to do every day? Are you keeping up with the things you need to do? How has it been recently with your to-dos? Too many or too few? Have you done too much or too little? What I'm doing here is that I'm trying to get an impression of one of the 4 basics are not met. To my knowledge, if my client is suffering, they're usually struggling with one or more of these 4 basics. If you're struggling with one of the 4 or all of them, it's likely one of the main reasons why you're experiencing difficulties. There might be a lot of other matters that needs to be addressed as well, but due to the nature of the basics being the main factors of a stable mind, starting with the basics is often unavoidable. Let's take a look at how we put this into practice. A client coming to me with an unstable mind is sure to be suffering. Alongside with the difficulties they're experiencing, they usually feel frustrated and scared and tend to blame themselves. They come to me with questions of what's wrong with me, is it normal, am I broken, why can I all of a sudden not cope, what should I do? I can hear from their first question that they're worried that what they're experiencing is not normal. In order to show that what they're experiencing is normal and to give them hope that it can be reversed, I explain them about the basics of a stable mind. I let them know that a stable mind is contingent on the 4 basics and that it's normal to suffer and to find everything extra difficult when these are not in place or out of balance. I explain to them how humans generally work, how mental health works, that we need to have a healthy balance of sleep, eat, rest, and do, that we're not aliens or superhuman, but that we are human, and that we have these basic needs, whether we like it or not. And that when these are not met, then our mind becomes unstable and we suffer. That it's not because your mind specifically is broken or that you're broken or malfunctioning, that what you're experiencing is normal and that it's just because you're burdened by not having a stable mind. I explain to them that when you have an unstable mind, it will affect your life negatively and make it less easy for you to cope with everything that life presents. I explain that it's not you, it's just how humans work. Knowing what's wrong with us is often the first thing we deal with when talking to a psychologist. And knowing that we're human and that we'll be affected by not having our needs met can be very helpful. If we're anxious or confused or frustrated, it just gets harder to isolate down what we need in order to feel back to ourselves. Therefore, I always put some effort into talking to the client about the basics. When we understand that we're normal humans, or let go of the belief that we're broken, we're more susceptible to taking the first step to doing what we need. Lastly, I promised to tell you about the first step you can take when aiming at restoring the stability of the mind. This step is to make yourself aware of the basics. Try, when you're not okay, to use questioning yourself about the basics as a tool. If we know why we're feeling not okay, then we're able to let go of a lot of additional suffering and possibly get a hint on what to work on. So the first step you can take towards a more stable mind when you're not okay is to go through the list. Have I slept sufficiently? Have I eaten enough? Have I rested enough? And have I done enough? Often the answers to these questions will let you know where you possibly lacked or are lacking some adjustments. Even though just running through the list seems like a simple step, it holds great importance and it's really efficient. It lets you know what might be wrong and often calms you down because you make yourself aware of what's causing your instability. When you've made yourself aware and have calmed down and accepted that it's normal to be having difficulties or to be negatively affected when the basics are not met, then you can move on and try to make the mind less unstable. Going through the basics list reminds you that you're not broken, just human with biological needs, and it tells you what to start working on. Check out my other videos for more information on the 4 basics: sleep, eat, rest, and do. I think this was all we had time for. What was your takeaway from today's video? As always, feel free to take away the information you can use, if any, and leave the rest. Hopefully you found today's topic makes sense and I didn't waste your time. Please subscribe or like this video so my channel can grow. Take care and see you for the next one.